Good evening and 1,000 welcome. Welcome to Thought Series Part 2. Tonight's lesson is termed Ever Busy Mind. Please permit me to comment with some instances that depicts some of the ways imagination and thought works. The first instance, quite a number of brother men have been beaten by aggressive dogs in the neighborhood. These dogs are well known to neighbors as mad dogs that must be avoided at all cost. The people beaten by the aggressive dogs died afterwards with all the symptoms of rabies. Yet, much later, veterinary physicians told anyone who cares to listen that the aggressive dogs are free from any trace of rabies. The second instance, a butcher slipped while hanging up a heavy piece of meat. He slipped and the meat hook pierced his ham. So he thought. He actually experienced severe pain and he never wanted anybody to touch it. The butcher in severe pain examined his ham and noticed it did not sustain any injury. The hook have only pierced his coat sleeve. That's all. Yet the butcher was in terrible agony. Also, I know that some of you might have woken up in the middle of the night. You might have left your bedroom door partly opened, but you might see it gradually open and you'll become very frightened. All the instances given deals with the deceitful nature of the power of imagination. Obviously, imagination tricks all of us. But what do you think about the aggressive dogs that are free from any trace of rabies? But meanwhile, the people they attacked died of rabies. What really happened? The truth is, what you fear most, you attract onto yourself. Imagination is very powerful and creative. The people beaten by those dogs lived in fear of rabies, and their imagination, being a creative force, infected them with rabies. The mind is magnetic and attracts to itself whatever it frequently thinks about. The mind is extremely unstable. It moves about like the mammoth crowd you see at the airport hall, where people constantly move in different directions. That is exactly how the mind behaves. The mind is always agitating over something. The mind derives immense pleasure dwelling on negative thoughts. If the mind is allowed to do as it pleases, it simply means it will keep dwelling on injurious and useless thoughts, and from there, creation of destructive forces will take place in the innermost being of the individual concerned. Your responsibility is to strive to train your mind so that all the forces within it will work in one direction and not in different directions. A mind that moves in different directions will not produce positive results. A stable mind means progress, reduction of poverty, and suicide in society. I urge you to perhaps commence with the Philippian rule on mind control and then gradually move on to the next stage.
Philippians 4 verse 8. And now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise.
My brother man and sister woman, obey the laws of mind control so that you can become successful in life. Most people are suffering today because they pay little or no attention to the mental potentialities God gave them. Most people don't bother about their hidden gifts from God simply because they cannot see them. They only believe in those things they can see physically. Most of these people fail to realize all the real things and the forces that controls the universe are not material things.
Guru Desai Sabai teaches that if a man cling to the idea that he is only common clay, that he was formed of the dust of the ground, if a man gets the idea that he cannot achieve immense success like people he has read about, or like people he knows, such a man closes the avenues of the mind, wherein lies the same powers that the men he envies or respects immensely tapped into.
Please permit me to give some instances concerning the power of thought. The first instance, Dr. Robinson has just finished eating his breakfast, which he has thoroughly enjoyed. He was eulogizing his wife for a good cooking. Dr. Robinson takes up his newspaper for brief perusal. He came across a sad story in which he realized a friend of his got involved in a fatal motor accident. As a result of the devastating news, the satisfaction he derived from his breakfast vanished. He became very sad and started crying. The second instance, Mr. Dixon did not enjoy his breakfast. He didn't. He yelled and abused his wife for the poorly prepared food. Suddenly, his mobile phone rang. He reluctantly picked the call, and his manager told him that his promotion has been approved. As a result of this cheerful information, he forgot his poorly prepared breakfast. He got up and started dancing close to his wife he was abusing. The last instance, a tourist was so delighted with the fine weather, while a farmer was agonizing because of the lengthy dry season and its effect upon his crops. My brother man and sister woman, what did you learn from the instances I just gave you? I presume you have gathered the following points. Your thought can make the world a happy place for you. Your thought can make the world a miserable place for you. Your thought can make or unmake you. The world for each of us is our world. It is what we think it is. Controlling your thoughts is the first and most important place to begin if you want to transform your life for the better. Anything worthwhile in life is not easy of attainment, and thought control is no exception. For instance, I know how difficult it is for most of us to keep to our New Year resolutions. We experience indescribable mental opposition to our New Year resolutions. Our mental faculties fiercely oppose any attempt to abandon our old ways and implement our New Year resolutions. But the truth is, if you insist on it, your mental faculties will have no option but to eventually obey you. Everything you are planning to do and almost everything you are experiencing in life comes from your thought. I want you to bear in mind, thought is creative. It is what we use to build up or destroy ourselves by installment. If you learn to continue in a certain positive manner of thinking despite experiencing difficulty or delay in achieving success, be rest assured in the end you will experience success, breakthroughs, and good health, etc. My brother man and sister woman, if you want to make any advancement in life, you must live in an atmosphere that agrees with what you are pursuing in life. If you crave to transform your life for the better, you must surround yourself in an atmosphere of positive thought, faith, and belief that will help to stimulate all your God-given mental energies to come and assist you. Your manner of thinking and self-control are important factors in achieving your goals in life. I urge you to start hobnobbing with good thoughts, cheerful thoughts, inspiring and brave thoughts. Encourage such thoughts and such thoughts only to dwell with you. Drive away every negative thought that deprives you of your peace of mind and your hope of succeeding in life. Prayer is good, but there is no substitute for positive and pure thoughts.
Guru Desaya Subai teaches, it is devastating to negotiate with a thought you do not wish to entertain. A negative thought must instantly be replaced with a positive, good, and encouraging thought. Whenever your mind is filled with baseless fears, impending danger, and so on, these negative pictures should be reversed instantly. Form positive images to expel them. The message of thought control to you is this: by living in this inner atmosphere of regrets, cares, and disappointment, you are not advancing one iota towards the life you seek. You're tending to put that life beyond your reach. By changing your pattern of thinking, you tend to make the life you seek possible. How should we deal with thoughts of hatred towards another person?
As a human being, I know that thoughts of bitterness and resentment toward someone who offended you always occupy the mind. It is the nature of the mind to always dwell upon the wrong done and the detestable character of the person who offended you. I also know that it is not always easy to forgive someone who offended you deeply simply because you believe, as a true Christian or Muslim, it is the right thing to do. Of a truth, I tell you, your hatred of the guilty person increases each time you recall and dwell on the thoughts of the bad things the person did to you. And as you continue to dwell on the bad things done by the offending party, the forces in your mind will eventually compel you to seek revenge. A grisly story is trending in Nigeria. A sister woman conspired with her sibling to kill a female makeup artist because she was having an affair with her boyfriend. This is not good. This should not be happening. The lady who conspired with her sibling to kill the makeup artist has been dwelling on her thoughts of hatred toward the makeup artist having an affair with her boyfriend. The more she dwelled on these negative thoughts, the more her hatred of the makeup artist increases. Remember, I have told you, the mind is like a bottled up volcano full of forces. As you keep dwelling on the thoughts of bitterness and injury done to you, eventually the lid sealing the bottle will fall off, and the mind full of forces will compel you to take revenge, which you will eventually regret. Of a truth, I tell you, it is extremely difficult to forgive someone who offended you because human beings are fundamentally evil creatures. The evil nature inherent in most human beings oppose merciful attitude of mind. No wonder people say to err is human, to forgive is divine. The best way to forgive someone who offended you is to resolutely dwell upon one or two good qualities of that person, and by so doing, you will find yourself forgiving the person. Of a truth, I tell you, an angry mother arrested the son of her neighbor because the boy ferociously beat up her daughter on account of minor argument. Her daughter sustained head injury and bruises in many parts of her body. The aggressive boy was arrested and detained. However, in the evening of that day, the angry mother who arrested the boy started to recall how the boy's mother always took care of her children whenever she goes to market. She recalled how the boy's mother gave her tips on how to prepare egusi soup, etc. And instantly, she broke down and eventually she persuaded the police to release the suspect. This sister woman turned her mind from the faults of her neighbor's son to the good deeds of his mother, and that was how she made up her mind to forgive him.
How can I correct serious faults in my character?
Let me give an instance. A brother man is determined to complete his house and move in. He is always thinking about the house, even though he is not having enough money. By constantly thinking about completion of the house, ideas will start flowing into him on what he should do to raise money to complete the house. However, such results cannot be obtained if the problem has to do with correction of serious faults in one's character. We must not forget that good is positive and evil is negative. The right thing to do all the time, which is not easy for us to do all the time, is to dwell on positive thoughts and give no attention to negative thoughts. The serious faults in one's character are negative attributes. You cannot overcome them by constantly dwelling on them. By constantly dwelling on your negative attributes and lamenting about them simply means you are giving more strength to them. We give more strength to whatever we worry about. The best way to gradually uproot negative attributes is to acquire their opposites. For instance, if you are a terrible liar, and most of your friends know that you lie a lot, you don't overcome habitual lying by thinking and worrying about it. The right thing to do is to focus on telling the truth all the time. If you focus on telling the truth always and keep telling the truth, whenever you are asked to say what happened, your habitual lying habit will wither. In the same vein, a cruel person should focus on developing kindness. A stupid person should focus on becoming clever. A careless person should focus on becoming careful. A bad person should focus on becoming a good person. A coward should focus on becoming a hero. A failure in life should focus on becoming successful, etc.
How should one deal with the thought of criticism?
Only few people in society can control their thoughts under criticism. Quite a number of people take criticism so badly that they fall sick, and some even contemplate committing suicide. The best way to overcome criticism is to become a critic yourself. Thoroughly examine what was said about you. Criticize carefully and calmly, because it may have some good points and you may learn something out of it. Take note of where the criticism is just and where it is unjust. If the criticism is just, we are foolish to ignore its lesson. If it be unjust, we are foolish to allow it to perturb us. Thanks for watching. Good night.
Follow us on Facebook at GuruDesay, Instagram at GuruDesay, Twitter at GuruDesay, and YouTube Desires Pathfinder TV.